After turning 60, life begins to unfold differently. The pace slows, offering us space to truly see the quiet beauty we once rushed past. The soft light of morning, a grandchild's laughter echoing through the house, the gentle peace of a day with no demands. We're no longer chasing the future. We're living in it. And with that shift, the way we spend our time, our energy, and our money starts to carry a deeper weight. Every decision feels more personal, more meaningful. Yet, without even noticing, some of us carry forward habits that once served a purpose but now quietly hold us back. Patterns of spending that once brought convenience or status can start to drain our resources, disrupt our peace, and add unnecessary heaviness to years that should feel lighter. That's why today I want to talk, woman to woman, about the spending patterns that often find their way into our lives after 60. Not to shame or scold, but to gently offer a different perspective. Because you deserve a life that feels unburdened and truly your own. And if any of these reflections resonate with you, know this: you are not alone. Every wise woman I know is still evolving, still discovering, still learning how to live with intention. And that, in itself, is something to celebrate. So take a breath, pour yourself a warm cup of tea, and let's talk honestly about the small, quiet choices that can lead to powerful, lasting change. 1. The trap of designer labels. At some point, many of us have been drawn into the world of high-end fashion. The allure of brand names, the handbags, the heels, the tailored blouses, promised a kind of elegance that we believed could be worn. In corporate spaces, at formal gatherings, and even in family photos, those labels seemed to carry weight. They gave us confidence. They made us feel seen. Helen, now 68 and living in a quiet Pennsylvania suburb, knows this well. Her closet once overflowed with designer pieces, Chanel, Coach, and curated outfits from Nordstrom. Getting dressed was her daily ritual, each scarf and earring thoughtfully chosen to complete the look. But retirement brought a change. One day, standing before her overflowing wardrobe, she asked herself, "Who am I dressing up for now?" Her days had shifted, filled with garden walks, cookie baking sessions with her grandkids, and volunteering at the library. These moments didn't call for $300 shoes. They called for ease, joy, and presence. Helen didn't stop dressing well, but now her favorite outfits are soft, simple, and effortless. She'll tell you that her best accessory is the smile she wears, genuine, bright, and entirely her own. Because the truth is, real elegance doesn't come with a price tag. It lives in how you make people feel, in the stories you share, the kindness in your voice, the spark in your eyes when someone you love walks into the room. You don't need a logo to prove your worth. You already have it. So, when the urge arises to buy something just because it's expensive or branded, take a breath. Ask yourself, does this bring joy or just more stuff? You might find that peace, comfort, and authenticity are the finest things you can wear. The pressure to upgrade technology. Let's talk about something sneaky. The pressure to always upgrade to the latest technology. Phones, tablets, smartwatches. New models come out every year, promising faster speeds, better cameras, and features we're told we can't live without. And it's tempting, right? The ads are everywhere. They make it sound like we're missing out if we don't keep up. Let me share Ruth's story. She's 72 and lives in Oregon. Ruth has always been independent and tech-savvy. When the new phone came out, the one with the fancy camera and the titanium body, she thought, why not? So she spent over $1,000 on a phone she hoped would make life easier, but it didn't. Instead, it made her feel frustrated and overwhelmed. The buttons were different, the menus were confusing, and she missed calls she didn't even know she had. All she really wanted was to FaceTime her daughter and see pictures of her new great-grandbaby. Her old phone could have done that just fine. Technology is supposed to serve us, not stress us out. And here's the bigger truth. Newer does not always mean better. especially when the device you already own is still working well and doing exactly what you need it to do. Ruth eventually returned the new phone and went back to her old one. Now she feels more in control, more at peace. She uses it to connect, not to chase updates. If you find yourself feeling the pressure to upgrade, take a step back. Ask yourself, what do I actually use this for? If it still works and it still serves your needs, let that be enough. You are not behind. You are wise. And wisdom means knowing the difference between what you want and what you truly need. 3. The weight of credit card interest. Now let's talk about something that often goes unnoticed, but can quietly weigh on your heart and your bank account. Credit card interest. For many of us, credit cards started as a convenience. A dinner here, a gift there, a quick fix for a car repair. But over time, that balance can build, and before you know it, you're paying hundreds, even thousands of dollars just in interest. Not on things you're enjoying today, but on things that are long gone. Joanne, a 70-year-old widow from Florida, knows this feeling all too well. She spent most of her life being careful with money. But after her husband passed, she started using her credit card more often. A little online shopping to distract from the loneliness, sending gifts to her grandkids, fixing up the house. Nothing extravagant, but it added up. One day, Joanne sat down to review her finances and realized she had paid over $9,000 in interest in just 2 years. Her heart sank. That money could have helped with medical bills, home repairs, or even a well-deserved trip with her sister. But Joanne did not let guilt take over. She got to work. She called her bank, set up a payment plan, and started making small, consistent payments. She sold a few things she no longer needed. And, most importantly, she forgave herself. Because learning is part of living. And debt is not just a number. It is a feeling. It can keep you up at night. It can make you feel stuck, anxious, even ashamed. But it does not have to define your story. You are not alone. So many women carry this quiet burden thinking they have to fix it all themselves. But there is help. There are tools. And there is always a way forward. The less you owe, the lighter you feel. And the lighter you feel, the more joy you can carry. You deserve that joy, and you can have it. The quiet leak in your wallet. Unused subscriptions. There's a subtle strategy that many companies rely on: our forgetfulness. They entice us with free trials or limited-time deals, hoping we'll sign up quickly, and then not think twice as the monthly charges continue quietly in the background. A few dollars here, a few more there, and before we know it, a steady trickle becomes a slow drain on our finances. Margaret, a 66-year-old from Texas, saw it unfold firsthand. When the pandemic hit, she subscribed to just about every streaming service she could find: Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, and a handful of wellness and fitness apps. It gave her a sense of comfort, like she was investing in her peace of mind during uncertain times. But months later, she noticed a pattern. She was watching the same 2 programs on repeat: an old mystery series and a cozy cooking show, both of which were available for free on public television. The rest? They sat untouched, collecting dust while quietly charging her credit card each month. When she tallied it all up, she was stunned. Over $90 per month, more than $1,000 a year, on services she barely used. It was a wake-up call. That money could have gone toward something meaningful: a small trip, unexpected bills, or moments shared with loved ones. Margaret took action. She reviewed her bank statements, made a list of every subscription, and began canceling them, keeping only 1 or 2 that truly brought her joy. Then she made an exciting discovery. Her library card gave her access to thousands of movies, documentaries, and courses for free through a service called Canopy. No hidden fees, no guilt, just meaningful entertainment. We're often made to believe that more choices equal more happiness. But sometimes the opposite is true. Fewer choices mean less clutter, less stress, and a deeper appreciation for what we do have. So, if it's been a while since you reviewed your subscriptions, now might be the perfect time. You may find yourself not only saving money, but also reclaiming a little more clarity and peace in your everyday life. 5. The hidden cost of lottery dreams. Twice a week, in homes across the country, hope flickers to life. People scan their tickets, waiting for those magical numbers that might change everything. For a brief moment, it feels as if anything could happen. But let's be honest with ourselves. Lottery tickets aren't a plan. They're a fantasy we pay for over and over again, often without realizing how much it's costing us. Dolores, a 65-year-old from Ohio, used to buy Powerball tickets religiously. $10 here, $20 there, especially when the jackpot ballooned into the millions. It wasn't really about getting rich. For her, it was about possibility, a way to dream, of freedom from debt, of travel, of generosity toward her children. Every losing ticket came with the same gentle lie. Next time. Then one day, Dolores did the math. She added up every ticket, every scratch-off, every hopeful purchase over 5 years. The total, over $5,000. What did she have to show for it? A shoebox of losing stubs and a heavy feeling in her chest. That's when she decided to shift her mindset. Instead of buying possibility, she would build it, intentionally. Now, every week, she places the $10 she once spent on lottery tickets into a savings jar labeled Future Joy. That jar has paid for pottery classes, a day trip with friends, and thoughtful surprises for her grandchildren. Tangible moments. Real joy. Here's the truth most people don't say out loud. We already possess a kind of wealth that no lottery can buy. Love, wisdom, experience, resilience. That is the treasure. If you're still buying tickets, pause for a moment and ask, what am I really hoping to gain? Is there another, more certain way to bring that hope to life? Because the life you dream of isn't hidden in a set of numbers. It's created, step by step, with intention, care, and the choices you make every day. 6. The true cost of food delivery convenience. There is something undeniably easy about food delivery. A few taps on a screen, and dinner arrives at your door. No dishes, no prep, no effort, just convenience. But over time, convenience comes with a cost. Not just financial, but emotional, physical, and personal. Linda, a 63-year-old from California, found herself relying on delivery more and more after her husband passed away. At first, it was a relief. Cooking for one felt lonely, and it was easier to let someone else handle it. She would order takeout 4, sometimes 5 times a week, Thai food, burgers, pasta, whatever sounded good in the moment. But a year later, during a checkup, her doctor told her something that startled her. Her blood pressure was rising, her weight had crept up, and worst of all, she felt tired, not just physically but emotionally. So Linda sat down and reviewed her spending. She had spent more than $3,000 in a year, not on gourmet meals but on food that was high in sodium, low in nutrients, and eaten alone in front of a television. That was her wake-up call. So she made a promise to herself. 3 home-cooked meals a week. Nothing fancy, just real food, prepared with care. Soup, roasted vegetables, grilled chicken, things her body recognized, things her heart remembered from simpler times. And something beautiful happened. She began to enjoy the process. The smell of garlic and olive oil, the rhythm of chopping onions, the quiet pride of setting a table for herself, not because anyone was watching, but because she mattered. She started inviting her neighbor over once a week for lunch. They shared stories, recipes, laughter. Her health improved. So did her spirit. Delivery has its place. Of course, there's nothing wrong with convenience now and then. But when it becomes the norm, we lose something deeper, the connection to what nourishes us, inside and out. Cooking is not just about food. It is about love, rhythm, memory. It is about saying to yourself, I am worth the effort, and you are. Always. 7. The guilt of unused exercise equipment. We start with the best intentions, a new year, a birthday resolution, a little voice inside us saying, "This time, I'll really do it." So we buy the equipment, the fancy treadmill, the shiny weights, the bike that costs more than our first car. We imagine ourselves stronger, healthier, glowing with energy. But then, life happens. Let me tell you about Nancy. She's 69 and lives in a quiet cul-de-sac in Georgia. Last spring, she bought a top-of-the-line elliptical machine. It looked beautiful in her living room, full of promise. For 2 weeks, she used it daily. And then, like so many of us, she got busy. A family visit, a sore knee, a change in schedule. The elliptical sat there, untouched. Then came the guilt. Every time she passed it, she felt a little nudge of shame. Not just for the money spent, but for what she thought it said about her. That she gave up. That she failed. But Nancy is not alone. So many women buy into the idea that expensive equipment is the key to lasting change. And when we don't use it, we blame ourselves. Here's the truth. It is not about the machine. It never was. Your body doesn't need $2,000 worth of metal to be strong. What it needs is movement. Joyful, consistent, loving movement. A walk around the block. Gentle stretching on the porch. Dancing in the kitchen to your favorite oldies. So Nancy gave herself permission to let go. She sold the elliptical to a neighbor who really wanted it. Then she joined a local walking group that meets twice a week at the park. No pressure, no equipment, just women, shoes, and fresh air. And you know what? She's happier. She moves more. She sleeps better. Not because she spent money, because she made space for habits that feel good. If you have a piece of equipment collecting dust in your home, let me say this gently. You do not need to feel bad. You are not lazy. You're human. And you deserve movement that fits your life, not guilt that takes up space. 8. The costly chase for purpose in a course. There's something alluring about the promise of personal development programs. They offer bold guarantees to awaken your passion, to uncover your life's meaning, to finally make you feel whole again. Sometimes those promises are sincere and helpful, but other times they come with a steep price tag and very little return. Barbara, a 71-year-old retired nurse from Minnesota, understands this firsthand. After decades of purpose-filled days caring for others, retirement felt oddly quiet. The rhythm of work was gone. Her morning stretched out before her, silent and unfamiliar. When she stumbled upon an online program that claimed to reignite your purpose, she didn't hesitate. She enrolled. The cost? Just over $4,000. For months, she joined Zoom calls, downloaded lesson plans, and participated in group chats. There were inspiring moments, yes, but something didn't quite sit right. It all felt familiar. When the course ended, Barbara reviewed her notes and had a striking realization. None of it was new. The ideas, the guidance, the so-called breakthroughs, they were truths she had already learned through a lifetime of challenges, love, loss, and resilience. And that was the turning point. Barbara didn't need someone to hand her a sense of purpose. She needed space to live it out. So she returned to the basics, joining a neighborhood book club, volunteering at a women's shelter, and mentoring a young woman who had just lost her mother. Without flashy promises or expensive fees, Barbara felt a warmth return to her days. Because real growth doesn't always require gurus or grand investments. It thrives in relationships, in giving, in listening to your own voice and trusting it. If you feel lost, remind yourself, you're not lacking. You're transitioning. You're unfolding. And no online course will ever understand you better than the life you've already lived. The truest learning often comes not from what we buy, but from what we give. 9. The price we pay for that new car. Feeling. Few things feel more exciting than driving off in a brand new car. It's sleek, it's spotless, and it feels like a fresh start. But that excitement can come with a hidden cost, one that quietly weighs on your finances. Edith, 75, from Illinois, had always driven reliable used cars. But after her last one gave out, she decided to treat herself to something new. "I've earned it," she told herself as she signed the papers for a brand new SUV, loaded with features and loaded with payments. At first, it felt wonderful, but within a year, reality crept in. The car's value had dropped by over 30%, thousands of dollars gone in depreciation. Meanwhile, the high monthly payments were eating into the freedom she had hoped retirement would bring. Weekend adventures, lunch dates, small indulgences, all put on hold. Eventually, Edith traded the SUV in for a certified pre-owned vehicle. It was nearly new, still under warranty, and cost far less. With her reduced payments, she finally took the train journey through the Rockies she had dreamed of for years. That trip? It filled her with more joy and memories than any car ever could. Edith came away with this truth: we don't need to prove anything to anyone. Not with our cars, our clothes, or our bank accounts. What we need is peace, stability, joy that doesn't come with a monthly bill. If you're considering a new vehicle, take a pause. Ask yourself, am I buying freedom or giving it away? Because the destination will always matter more than the ride. Closing message. A gentle invitation to begin again. If you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for giving yourself the gift of reflection, for taking a moment to ask, is there something in my life I'm ready to release? Letting go is not a loss. It's an opening, a chance to welcome more ease, more calm, and more of what truly matters. The things that last, the things that fill your spirit and not just your schedule. Maybe something in these stories felt familiar. Maybe you saw yourself in Helen or Barbara, in Margaret or Edith. If so, know this: you're not the only one. Every wise woman I've met has made choices she later grew beyond. That's not failure, that's growth. That's grace. We've reached a time in life where the goal is no longer to impress. It's to live with clarity, with love, and with intention. So if there's a habit that no longer serves you, a fear that's been weighing on your wallet, or a belief you've outgrown, this could be your moment to set it down. Take a breath, feel your feet on the ground, and know that you're allowed to start again, at any age, for any reason. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Was there a story or a shift today that resonated with you? Something you're ready to change? Or gently reconsider? Share your thoughts in the comments, not only for yourself but for the woman who might need your words to find her own courage. And if this brought you even a spark of peace or clarity, I hope you'll share it with someone you care about, a friend, a sister, a neighbor, because this stage of life is too precious to walk through alone. Until next time, take care of your heart, spend with intention, live with lightness. And always remember, the most valuable investment you can ever make is in the beautiful unfolding life still ahead of you.